I'm going to read your book today. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Big Shot. I think Mom could see I wasn't doing so great, so whenever one of the evaluators got near her, she'd snitch on the other kids who were struggling. Number 3 just threw it over the backboard. But it's not like Mom was the only parent helping their own kids. Some of the evaluators had kids who were trying out tonight, so I wonder how fair the scoring really was. But by the end of the night, it was pretty obvious who was gonna make a team and who was gonna make a team and who wasn't. But I guess they needed to decide which kid was gonna get the final spot because they made the bottom 9 kids duke it out in a scrimmage, and all I can say it wasn't pretty. What? Once that was over, they collected our jerseys. The guy running tryouts told everyone that if we made a team, our parents would get an email by tomorrow night. But after that experience, I'm not exactly holding my breath. Tuesday, when I got home from school yesterday, my plan was to relax and maybe take a nap, so I was pretty surprised when I walked into the kitchen. Congrats, you did it. I was confused because I knew for sure I didn't make either of the basketball teams, but Mom said she heard from one of the coaches who said I did. Then she showed me the email to prove it. It was from Miss Preet's father. Preet's one of the best athletes in our grade, and during the student-teacher basketball game last year, Preet totally dominated. I could understand how I got on the same team as a kid like that, but Mom said the evaluators must have seen something special in me, and that's why I made the cut. When I thought back to the night before, I couldn't remember pre actually being at tryouts, so now I was more Now I was even more confused. At school today, Jabber Bruce told me what happened. Pre missed tryouts because he had to go to his uncle's funeral, and the rule was that if you skipped tryouts, you couldn't be on a team. So Mr. Paddle made a new team with Preet plus all the kids who got cut, just so his son could play this season. Well, I wasn't happy to hear that. I thought I was off the hook for basketball, and now all of a sudden I was actually on an actual team, and I knew there was no way Mom was letting me out of this either. Our first practice was tonight at the elementary school, and when Miss Padel saw our team assemble for the first time, I'll bet he had second thoughts about taking this on. My teammates were the kids who were in the last scrimmage at tryouts, and I already knew a few of them from school. Jaber, Bruce, and Tommy Chu were part of that trade deal with me on field day. Jabara, Bruce, Tommy Chu. Then there was Darren and Marcus Woodley, who might actually be decent athletes if they weren't always trying to kill each other. Darren Woodley, Marcus Woodley. We also had Edward Mealy, who hasn't said a word since second grade, and Kevin Parmado, who nobody can understand when he's wearing his retainer. Edward Mealy, Splackash, Kevin Pomodoro. I guess it's always good to have a little height on your basketball team, so we are lucky to have Yusuf Meskin, but Yusuf likes to scoop of kids who are my size and put them in the cave. Murph. Yusuf Meskin. It's also good to have a little toughness, and that's where Ruby Bird comes in. And the reason she's on a boys team is because she attacked one of the evaluators at the girls' tryouts for writing her number down. Chub. Ruby Bird. Anyway, I wouldn't have blamed Pre or his dad for walking out as soon as they got a good look at us, but Mr. Padel gathered the team around him so he could give us a speech. Miss Padel said that we might not have the most talented team, but we're going to outwork everyone else in the league, and he said we were gonna learn to play the right way starting tonight. I figured that if this was the guy who taught Pre how to play, maybe he could teach the rest of us too. Tommy Chu raised his hand and asked how come we were meeting in the elementary school cafeteria instead of the gym. Miss Padel explained that the two other teams booked all the gym time for the season, so we were going to have to do with the leftovers. I didn't understand how we were supposed to play basketball when we didn't have a hoop, but Miss Padel said that we were going to start with the fundamentals and work up to shooting later on. We did some dribbling drills and then moved on to passing, but with all the tables set up in the cafeteria, there wasn't a lot of room to move around, so half of us had to go on the stage which was set up for a kindergarten to play. For a kindergarten play. Even though we were trying our hardest, Mr. Padel was getting frustrated. We weren't picking things up more quickly. And every time one of us made a mistake, he'd make us run wind sprints to the other side of the cafeteria. Tweet! Puff, puff. But that just made us tired, so we made even more mistakes. And after a while, everyone expected Pete was running sprints. Tweet, huff, puff. Personally, I don't think coaches should use running as a punishment because all it does is make kids hate to run. And I doubt the track coach forces his team to play basketball whenever they're slacking. The thing I hate the most about running is that it makes you sweat. My theory about sweat is that it's your body's way of telling you are working too hard and you need to take it easy. But when I shared my thoughts with Mr. Padel, he just made me run more wind sprints. When I got in the car after practice, Mom wanted to hear all about it, and I told her how our team was basically just Pre and a bunch of scrubs. So we weren't going to be any good this season. But Mom said I'd probably get a lot of playing time on this team, which got me worried. Even every kid dreams about hitting the big shot to win the game for their team, but there's a flip side, and that's being the person who blows it. There's a guy in my town named Anthony Grow, and 20 years ago he missed a kick on a empty net and lost the game against Shackville, who's our town's biggest rival. And now we can't go anywhere without people reminding him about it. If I was Anthony, I would just move to Shakespeare because over there he's a hero. I made the mistake of telling Mom how I was worried about messing up like Anthony Grow, and she told me a story that made me feel even more nervous about things. Mom had been the backup point guard on her middle school basketball team, and in the championship game, the regular point guard got hurt. So with the score tied in the fourth quarter, Mom had to go and take her place. Mom said she actually did pretty well, but with the clock winding down, she got double teamed. So she had to heave the ball up at the buzzer, and her shot came up short. Mom says she's glad it happened because it taught her to deal with failure and made her a better person. But I'd be willing to bet Mom's teammates just wished she hadn't choked. Thursday. I should have done a little more research before I decided on basketball as my sport because the schedule is brutal. We've got practice 3 days a week, plus one game on Saturday and another on Sunday, and on top of all that, I'm supposed to keep with my homework and get enough sleep to make it through school the next day. It's hard enough getting sleep with all the racket outside my window every night, and that's because we put up a basketball hoop in our driveway. Thump, 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 thump. Bye.